I wonder what our next photo assignment is gonna be about. Hey everyone, welcome to Keep Shooting Monday, number 83. My name is Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com.
And I'm Kathy Azar from Catherine Azar Photography.
As Kathy just called her, she's the elephant in the room, but only weighs 10 pounds. So we have our special guest, Gracie, in here today. And so she is going to be the subject, and pets in general, I should say, are going to be the subject of our next photo assignment. But first, we need to finish up the other one. So we need some additional posts. We need you guys to do a couple DIY projects, get some photos of them posted. There aren't a lot of submissions yet, so we need to get some more of those. You could win yourself a 16 by 20 or 11 by 14 print. So get those posted for us. Any kind of a photo project, take a picture of it hanging on the wall or sitting somewhere.
And even if it's just your montage, if it's all the photos that you've done and printed and hung on your wall and you've organized them in a neat way that's creative, go ahead and post that as well.
Yep, I think it's a good idea. So we found another post on LifeHacker that had a few more ideas of stuff that you can print and do with your photos.
Absolutely. One of them was creating your own labels and decals. If you can fruit or something like that, make a cool label. Maybe if you make your own wine or beer, you could do your own things like that too. That'd be cool.
I actually have some paper that I bought from Lexjet that I ran through my inkjet printer, and it's a clear material. You can basically turn it into a label, and it works actually really good. You can put it on anything you want. And I also have white stuff that also has a sticky back. So you could stick that on stuff if you want to cut it to any size that you want, up to, well, my printer is 24 inches, but if you had a smaller printer, you can get smaller sheets of it or smaller pieces. So. Sure. Rolls, whatever it is.
The next was transfer printed images to wood or metal. And this is talking about a transfer, but you said some might actually print right to the wood?
Some printers you can print directly on wood or a solid surface.
Okay.
Yep.
So that was an idea. Print custom napkins, gift bags, and photo cake for your party.
Giveaways.
Could do that.
Or favors, I guess is the word that I'm looking for there, huh?
Make that creative. Print on fabric for custom clothing, and I've done that for my daughter fundraisers for the National Kidney Foundation. We've made shirts every time we've done the kidney walk that I've used photo iron-on decal kind of a thing.
I've never done that. How long does it last?
It doesn't last very long in the washer. You have to treat them very carefully. Some of them, especially the bigger ones, and you have to follow the directions very, very carefully.
Okay.
We have a sewing machine now that embroiders, so I'm going to probably do more of that than the other. And one of the things that wasn't on there that I also did recently was created my own cell phone case. I got a case with a clear back and printed something. I found a template on Etsy and I uploaded that and then started to learn Photoshop. Oh my word. But I'll get there. But
that's going to be an interesting series of videos. Someone that's never used Photoshop before.
Well, Lightroom serves me well, but there are times when you definitely need Photoshop, and I need to learn that.
Maybe we can sit and record some of that.
Wanting to throw the computer through the wall? Yeah, that's good.
Might be funny. Might be funny. Just leave it sit. Leave the camera sit and play and record, and maybe we can just pull some clips from it. That might be funny.
Oh yeah.
You don't curse, but we could. You could just make like you're cursing and we'll just throw some beeps in there.
Yeah,
It'd be
usually
funny.
don't swear, but every once in a while. Exactly. So, and then under the comments, some people have some other good ideas. So take a look at that article. It was interesting.
Very good.
And don't just take a look, do it.
Yes.
And post it to the forum so that you can win some prizes.
Very good. Get them posted. So both Nikon and Canon posted some warnings about counterfeit batteries. Got to be careful when you're buying batteries. In my thoughts, I would never buy a battery that is, an aftermarket. But the problem is that these don't look aftermarket.
Oh, they're branded.
Yes, they're branded and they look very, very good. They look almost perfect, except for one kind of just tiny little things, just wording, and the way the screening is on the Canon is just not quite as clear. So be super careful where you're buying them from. Buy them from a reputable retailer. Don't buy them from, like a camera show or, on the street or anything like that, because you don't know where that guy got those batteries from, and it looks like it. They might look good, but just get them from a real retailer like B&H or Amazon or somebody like that, and then you know for sure that it's the real thing and you don't have to worry about it. But in case you have already bought batteries from there, check out the links for both those Canon and Nikon warnings to give you a little bit more detail on those counterfeit batteries.
Can't help by grabbing her.
Yep.
So good. We found another interesting thing, a photo project, and I've seen things like this before, but this is super cool. About a photographer using body paint to camouflage models, and then it has the models up against the skyline in New York and other places. So cool.
I love the fact that she did it and it's done in camera. That's
all
the best
real.
part.
It's not photoshopped.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Because you could easily Photoshop that.
You could, but her technique, her talent, she's very talented. Very interesting, neat article.
Yep. Talented in both the photography as well as
the painting.
The painting.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the same person is doing the painting as doing the actual
photography.
Yeah, photography. Yes, that's pretty neat.
Creative person.
I was surprised to see that it's not illegal in New York City to do that. The body paint in public. So
yeah,
I thought for sure it would have been. So in the last week, actually this is a little old, July 25th, but I wanted to comment on it anyway. Hasselblad launched their 50 megapixel CMOS back for their older Legacy 5 camera system. My first question is, why did it take them so long? I feel like this would have helped them a lot if they would have done this 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when a lot of the pros still had their cameras. Now it seems like everybody has sold off their cameras because it was so expensive. But if you would have gotten them in early like this, instead of having to force them over to phase back or phase 1 or some of the other ones with their backs, I think it could have been a real savior for their company. But now they're finally doing it. I don't know. I think it could be interesting. I'm sure the quality is going to be really good. Decent ISO range, a nice file size at 8,000 pixels on the long side. But yeah, interesting, but I just wish they would have done it a couple of years ago.
So I don't know a whole lot about Hasselblad. Are they just a medium format camera?
Medium format,
okay.
Yes. Their lenses are some of the best in the world as far as quality, if not the best. There's always been an argument between like Zeiss and Hasselblad, which one is the better. But as far as medium format, back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, 70s too, everybody wanted a Hasselblad. Okay. If you were shooting a Hasselblad, it was very expensive. Okay. Yeah, exactly. But that means you're making the money and you're able to pay for it.
Right,
and,
gotcha.
Got a good system. So, yeah, it's still a good system. I'm sure you can get some great photos with it. Definitely more of a product camera because it's slow. It's manual focus, all that stuff. Huge shutter, noisy shutter. Clip, clop, clip, clop.
Gotcha.
But it would
Horses
still,
are coming.
Yeah, but it would still be interesting, and maybe it'll spark something for Hasselblad. It's hard to say.
Renewed interest, perhaps.
Yeah, hopefully. Frank asks, what solid color background would be good for portraits for a phone directory?
Okay, funny you should ask that question. Greg and I were talking about backdrops before the show in a different capacity, and we'll get to that in a second. But to answer your question directly, generally something like, didn't someone comment underneath his question?
Yeah, Casey said that you probably want to go with more of a gray color because you don't want the people's clothes to conflict and look weird, and conflict is still the wrong word, but...
Conflict's good enough.
Clash. That's the one I'm looking for, clash.
Yeah, and I also make sure that I'm paying attention to what their branding is. If their branding has purple in it, I'm not going to use something that's bright orange, or maybe I am, depending upon if that's their market. So I'm going to pay attention to what they're using it for and what they want. And sometimes even outside is a good option, not just a background.
Yeah, the best thing I would say is talk to the client, see what they want, show them some examples of some backgrounds.
Yes.
If they need to buy something, go with that and buy it. If you're printing it on paper, sometimes just a plain old white would look fine, because then the person really jumps off and you don't see the frame around them.
And on the web, it looks funny sometimes if it's white and there's a white background. It looks like they're a floating head.
Yeah, it can. So,
but speaking of...
Yeah, so we found this background a couple of weeks ago. DIY Photography posted about Bokeh Backdrops from Lastolite.
And they're talking about it more if you can't afford the lenses that will create the bokeh, using a backdrop that will create the bokeh.
Correct. Or if you don't have, maybe you want the whole beach scene and you're in the middle of the country or you don't have a beach around you anywhere.
But the article is more about the talking about the costs.
Talk about the lenses and that kind of thing, and having the bokeh backgrounds. So they did these shots in the studio, which is a whole other thing that I wouldn't do. But then our discussion was I said, well, I would print my own. I would use my own images, or I would go grab an image off of a stock photo site somewhere and then print it myself and have my own. But then again, I have access to a 44-inch wide printer and can do my own and do it whenever.
And that was my argument, that sometimes the cost involved in printing it and the time involved in printing it isn't worth it, first of all. Second of all, these backdrops I like because they're collapsible. They twist into those little circles, which is really fun when you know how to do it, because your clients
Not
like,
everybody
whoa!
knows how.
I know. And they go back down. They're portable. They're non-glare. They are easy to use. Mine, I think that one too has two sides that they're showing. So it's two for the price of one. Now they're typically more expensive if they're two for the price of, then it wouldn't be the price of one. Anyway, they have both sides that you can use, and so for storage purposes, you have one piece that has two uses. There we go. One for the usage of two.
It would definitely be interesting, you know, maybe you have a mix of both, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're only going to use it one time and for one thing, and you don't want to spend $185 for one.
You're still talking about the time that's involved, and I was telling him...
But if you have the perfect image, what's the difference between ordering a print or ordering this online? Ordering a poster.
I was talking about the other place that I love backdrops from is lemondropstop.com, and I had to read it because I always want to say it wrong. But they have great creative backdrops. Some of them are bokeh and all sorts of other things that I've used, and you can get them either in a poly paper called Polypro, vinyl, or canvas, and the only time I've ever had a problem is when I had a dog pee on one and I didn't notice it soon enough, and it sat there for a little bit, and then it ruined it. But other than that, they're fabulous.
People have often asked about this background, and this is actually a handmade one. Jack bought the canvas from a local awning company, and I think it's 12 or 14 feet wide, and just goes down to the floor. That's all the longer it is. But you can if you get a huge piece of canvas, go to the Home Depot, buy some paint, start painting it, play with it, see if you like it, and if you don't like it, paint over it. No big deal. So if you wanted to make something custom and you need something big, the canvas idea like this could be an interesting way to go too.
Yep.
All right. Plus, it's unique. Nobody else is going to have something like this where everybody has those.
Or has access to these.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's to pick it up. So different ideas for some photography backgrounds. Oh, one more thing. I'd love to see photos with these done outside. You know, I think it would be interesting to show. Okay.
But you can't always do that.
No, you can't always,
this is for the times that you can't.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it would be neat to do the beach scene outdoors where you can see the real sun, the real everything. I think it would be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, but if you live in Montana, that's hard.
Everybody has sun.
But not beach.
You don't need beach. You just need sun. That's what the background is for. You're putting it in there. Thanks, guys. Keep shooting. See ya. She doesn't agree with me, Gracie. What's the problem? She has to agree with me.